All right. There we are. Ooh, a little closer. Sorry about that, Joe. Sorry about that, boys in the back. I know I switched things up on the show rundown, but I had to because we ran a little long and yada, yada, yada. Okay, let us get to it right now. What are we going to talk about today? We are going to talk about Cowboy Cerrone. Now, this always happens whenever I do a analysis on a fight where the ending was fairly clear. In other words, like if I asked you, how did Donald Cerrone win? The answer is going to be quite literally via head kick, and then he followed up with a series of punches thereafter. So whenever I'm always like, how did Cowboy Cerrone win? If you just literally answer via head kick, you are admitting you don't understand actually how he won, because there's a lot of work that goes into it. And yes, the way he did it was he tricked him by going to the body, because if you watch Alexander Hernandez, he actually leans into it, thinking he's covering for his ribs, and instead he did get the hand up, so it wasn't like full on, but it was pretty close. But the point being is he leans into it, being tricked. But even that's not the full story. In fact, I would only consider that a part of the story. It's a devastating and obviously enormously consequential part of the story. But in order to get to that point, he had to do many other things. And if he had not done them, it would never have made the other parts possible. You have to look at the full breadth of the experience, what they did, tactically what they were looking at, and then draw some broader conclusions. So whenever I ask people like, oh, how do you think Cerrone won? Via head kick, bro. Head kick, bro. It's like you are automatically disqualifying yourself from conversation. There is much more to the story, and you need to be able to understand that much. Now, as a general disclaimer, before I go through all of this, let me just say, as usual, I don't present to you the authoritative findings, the only findings, or even the best findings. I present to you them as mine. But unlike other people in this sport, I am willing to make an argument about it. How good are the ideas? I'm perfectly willing to stand by them because I believe they are supported by the facts. Let's go throw the slide up here if we can. Now, I've got my Apple Pencil today because I got the new iPad. I'm going to try using this because I've had some issues. But, okay. Here we go. This is Donald Cerrone looking very tan, I guess. All right. The key to this one was really absorbing pressure because, yes, he landed the head kick. Yes, he set everything up, and that was kind of nice. But what was Alex Hernandez doing? He was getting in his face constantly. He was constantly trying to crash into him almost. So Cerrone, to find ways to go to the body, go to the body, go to the body, trick him, then go to the head, he needed space to, A, soften him up, cause more damage on his own, but also he had to have a tactic for dealing with a fighter who was coming forward. Let me say something that's not listed on here that I think is really important. Fighters today, young fighters, if you are watching this, I'm not in a position to coach you, but I'm in a position to offer something that I think might be valuable by way of argumentation. Namely, we are watching the era of stance switchers. Every week I come on here and I talk to you guys about people switching stances. There is an arms race happening inside mixed martial arts where everybody wants to switch their stances. I think, generally speaking, that's a positive development. It is an advancement over just sitting in one particular stance and being committed to that and only having offense from that. However, what I am also seeing is guys are trying to get to that and using it before they're really ready. Donald Cerrone is something of a throwback fighter. Now, he's got an advanced skill set in the sense where I think he has a phenomenal guard, by the way. And I was wondering if we were going to see that. It turns out we didn't. As you saw against Hernandez, much improved wrestling. Those two were fighting over underhooks and whizzers, and it was actually Cerrone that was winning because he was, well, there's a lot of reasons, high hips and the whole thing, but so he can do that as well. He's got much improved takedown defense. We know he can strike, but here's something you should consider. He mostly stays, or I would say almost exclusively stays, in an orthodox stance, and nearly all of his offense comes from the right side. Now, here I've got it, same side clinch attacks, because that was specific to this fight. But you're going to see he tries to catch Hernandez coming in on the half beat with the right. He throws same side combinations. A lot of guys throw combinations where there'll be jab, cross, hook, uppercut, and they're going side to side to side to side. He does some of that, Donald Cerrone. He does a lot of same side. jab, body, push kick, all on the same side. He stays in stance and he has same side attacks. In an era where guys are trying to do too much, Cerrone doesn't do too little, but he stays consistent with what he knows. He has mastered a skill set, and it's not as modern necessarily as what some of the other guys do, are trying to switch stances all the time. But if you're not really ready to be switching stances, you probably shouldn't be. It's a lesson in humility. It's a lesson in learning that either you're ready to use a weapon or you're not ready to use a weapon, and that you can still win by going back to what would be considered more old school or conventional tactics inside MMA. If you look at boxing, a lot of guys, they might switch stance a little bit or something, or switch stance through combination in certain particular contexts, but they stay in their stance. In MMA, we're doing this thing now where we're just constantly switching. And Alex Hernandez did that. Didn't do him much good. In the end, the guy who was conventional and the guy who stayed in that stance and had same side attacks, he did much better in the end. Remember, switching stances is great. It is an update over the conventional way of doing things. But if you're not really in a position to maximize stance switching, it could get you in trouble. It's not all about, if I just stance switch, I'll be ahead of the game. No, you have to be ready to stance switch the right way. Okay, so he had to absorb pressure. How did he do it? These are the things that I found the most compelling. Number one, he had to take advantage of Hernandez's hard step. How do you think Cowboy ended up landing those knees as Hernandez kept coming into him? How do you think he kept catching him with right hands with no setup off the jab as Hernandez was coming into him? Lots of other things he did too, push kicks, all kinds of stuff. Hernandez wasn't merely just coming in hard, he was overcommitting at the same time, a lot of times positionally. So he'd be just not running in, but he'd be going side to side, switching stances, and they would take a hard step, man, and he'd be really on the inside. Cerrone read it every time and fired a knee up the middle. By the way, from orthodox as well as southpaw stance, or at least alternating different sides with the knee. So he was able to catch him doing that. He caught him coming in off the half beat with right hands. He knew that Hernandez was not only going to come into him, he wouldn't necessarily be mindful of the distance when he did. And that opened up a lot of possibilities. And when he would step so hard and step so far away sometimes he'd just step too hard in tight. Sometimes he would step far away, but he would step really far like this. So Cerrone had a lot of different opportunities to greet him. There was a height differential, and Cerrone's really good about the counter knees. So he just took advantage of the height differential and the body type. He took advantage of the hard step distance-wise, or the just sort of crashing into him a lot. And other times he would greet him with the clinch. So it was this greeting him with the right hand, greeting him with the clinch if he got too far, greeting him with the knee. But it was all from these hard steps he was taking on the inside. That was one. Two, catch Hernandez on the exit. Man, this was a problem he had. Basically, as soon as Cerrone found it, I would say roughly halfway through the first round, it was a wrap for him. Not only was Hernandez, these two are related. Hernandez would take a hard step and then kind of angle and then sit there. And Cerrone would be like, you're still in front of me. Pop, pop. And he hit him the same way every time, although sometimes in different sides, namely straight and hooks, or a hook and a straight. Got him over and over and over and over with them. Look at Frankie Edgar. Jose Aldo might be kryptonite for Frankie Edgar, but for most people, Frankie Edgar is their kryptonite. Why? Because he does a lot of moving and a lot of fakes and a lot of feints, sets it up behind the jab, hits a cross, and he's gone. Dominic Cruz does the same thing. He's bopping and doing this, and he'll hit you with a dart, and then he's gone. He's at an angle and exiting the pocket so that when you go back to throw, they're not there anymore. Hernandez did not. And so Donald Cerrone caught him over and over and over and over and over with it. That was really, he was just observing what the guy was. They say it in jiu-jitsu, they say it all the time. Take what the guy gives you. He's giving you the fact that he's not exiting properly, and he set him on fire with it. Three, same side clinch attacks. I mentioned this before. You'll see with the right hand, what he was doing was Cerrone would align his head on the side he wanted to throw, which is typically the right side. So that would prevent him from getting hit. He would have an overhook on this one or some kind of bicep control or hand control. There's a few different things he would do. They would separate, and then he would get his head to a position where it needed to be, and he would crack him every time, or with a right hand from there. But it's the same side that keeps getting hit over and over and over again. Again, if he's giving you an open target, if you can win in the clinch, Hernandez was doing a good job of firing knees in the clinch, but he was getting controlled from the chest up in terms of strategy. Not physically controlled, but he was being controlled by, he would just contort him or push him a certain way. Hernandez, I don't know, it didn't seem to me it occurred to him to challenge it strategically. So now he's sitting in this position, and now they would sort of jockey, and you would see you would see Cerrone swim inside for a collar tie, and two of them, depending, or a bicep, depending on what he needed to do. Get his head to the side where he couldn't be hit, push out, and then hit from the right side over and over and over and over again. Last, flurry as Hernandez linearly retreats. Why is this important? So number one, he's not exiting. So you could crack him with a good one shot, maybe a two shot. Sometimes he wouldn't exit and then would back up in a straight line. And you could hear Joe Schilling the whole time. Shouts to Joe Schilling, who is super underrated as a cornerman, super underrated as a guy who can help other strikers in MMA be their best. I very much believe that. You could hear him saying, fire, fire, going after him. So you'd see Cerrone just blitz the guy because he was unprepared to circle in the directions that would get him out. Or sometimes he would exit, but he would exit in an obvious way, and Cerrone would greet him. If he exited to the left, left hook, right straight, and catch him every single time. These things happened over and over and over again. When I was watching fights, I was making notes about what was happening and then adding timestamps, and I just kept adding it to every single thing that they did because it wasn't highly varied offense. The same things kept appearing. Crazy. All right, let's go. Shall we? Let's look at the first one. This will be, I think, taking advantage of Hernandez. You know what? Fuck this pen. Not that great. Apple, your pen is overrated. All right, so here we are. I'm going to show you things in the order they're kind of listed here, rather than going just through the fight chronologically. So here we are. All right, look at Cerrone, conventional stance. Hernandez, southpaw. Let's see, stays in southpaw. Hernandez is always trying to get that outside angle. His lead foot on the outside of Cerrone's lead foot. Cerrone saw it every time. And you see he misses here, but look how far he's stepping into him. Cerrone's knee here is behind the tricep of Hernandez. You know how far into somebody you got to be for that to happen? Now, again, you can miss, but you saw all the times it landed. This is that hard step. Cerrone reading that. Here again, 2:43 on the clock. That's about when this fight turned for me. Right around this moment is when Cerrone began to pick up on it. Let's look at the next one, right? And then he, boom. And by the way, not exiting. Whoop. It just barely misses him. He just kind of stays there. Like, look who backed out more. Bink, look who backs out right away. Hernandez does a little bit, but not much. It's actually Cerrone. And here comes Hernandez again. Boom. Now, he eats one here, but that one kind of grazes off the side. Point being is, look at this hard step he comes in with, right? And there's a height differential. He lowers his weight. You can see it every time. So this is a nice moment for Hernandez to land a shot, but that would be a damaging blow that would land over and over for him. We keep going. Boom. Again, look at him not exit. So Cerrone eats a nice one, comes down, throws a hook, and just stays there. Pop. Look at that. He just stayed there. He doesn't move at all. So Cerrone comes down, looks, sees him right there, says, okay, bink, crushes him, and then he moves away. All right? So we go to the next one. Here we are. 43 seconds left in the first round. Here are two orthodox stances. Always pay attention to that. He tries to go down to the body. This was one of the better things I thought Hernandez would do, was going to the body a little bit. And by the way, he kept doing this thing either from a southpaw stance or a conventional stance. He would dip to this side, to the left side, and then shovel punch up, or dip to this side, lean, and then go to the body. In this case, he goes to the body from the left-handed stance. One of his better punches. But watch, right? They circle out here. Not sure why I included that. Bink, that's why. He sees him coming in, right? Look how he sets it up, right? Lowers his level. Big step. Look at that huge step Hernandez is taking. Cerrone tries to greet it with a jab, watches him, frames out, sees him reset, comes back. See that? Look at this huge step he takes. Look at that big step from Hernandez. Watch the feet of Hernandez. Huge step. Cerrone cracks him with it, right? And then he just stays there. Eats the knee and just just stays. He just stays. So we keep going. 13 seconds left. Tries it from the other side. Has him, you'll see Hernandez fading across. He's strafing this way, and Cerrone just tries to time it. Mistimes it a little bit, but that's one thing he kept finding an opportunity for. Okay, next one. We'll see what this is. This is, I believe, him not exiting the pocket, right? Here he comes, southpaw stance. He's trying to, the body kicks I thought from the southpaw stance were good by Hernandez. He did some good stuff in this, but the problem was he was taking these hard steps and he was single-shotting. Not a lot of combination work from Hernandez, and as a consequence, he gets chewed up a little bit for it. So he stays in southpaw, he tries to come in, right, watch. Let's see. This is that dip I was telling you about. See that? See how he's dipping to his left side? He's going to try and come in. He goes to the body, which is nice. Comes up, but then just stays there. Cerrone fires a right, turns, and he's still there. Boom. And he gets chewed up for it 2 more times. He had a big problem exiting the pocket and took a lot of unnecessary damage as a consequence. Here we are. They're clinched up. Remember, Cerrone likes to look from the right side. Cerrone is here. Head to the left, right? Let's see what he does here. He's going to switch out. Boom. Cracks him with the right, gets his head off the center line, and stays on that right-hand side, by the way. Hernandez backs out and then just comes right into it, greets him with the right, pops him again with the left. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. Clinch attacks from the right side. Here's the second thing you see. Hernandez breaks the clinch. Okay, fine. Cerrone greets him with a right hand on the half beat. Again, not on this one, but on the right there. Catches him here. And then the guy stays. Boom. Cerrone throws 2 more shots. Again, same pattern over and over and over and over again. All right, let's go to the next one. Here they are clinched up again. Cerrone's he gets a nice frame on his elbow on the inside right here, right? That can be devastating if you get it right. They break away. He pushes. He leans out. Cerrone misses with the right. Again, all the clinch attacks on the same side. He follows up with the punch. And then as he exits, he's still kind of backing out straight in a linear way and eats a head kick as a result. He never exits at an angle. He always exits. Well, that's not true. He exits at an angle sometimes, just not enough. All right? Now we go to, let's see what he does here. He's southpaw. You see him try to get the outside lead foot angle, right? Goes to the body. I thought this body work was pretty nice, actually. He didn't follow it up with much, and he did it too far away, and he didn't change it up because he's taking these hard steps and these big jumps into space. But he eats a punch and then just kind of stays there. Look, Cerrone knows if I just follow this guy with combinations, he'll be there, and he switches stances to get to that position. Over and over and over again. And watch this. Let's see what this one is. Boom. Greets him with the knee, which you see. And now watch him. I think he's going to flurry here. Let's see. Pow, pow. Just coming forward, blitzing him. Here's another one. Let's watch. So remember, what does he do? He's greeting him with knees. All attacks on that right-hand side. Greeting him with the right hand, catching him on the half beat. Let's see how he greets, or they clinch. This is commonly how it goes. Watch. He gets out of the way. Throws a jab this time. Highly unusual for Cerrone. But look, Hernandez just breaks and stays there. So Cerrone just takes advantage of it and blitzes him back. Look at this line that he's in. Backing up, and he turns a little bit here, but that's when the that's when the straight, yes, well, yeah, the cross, it's his right hand, yes? Yeah. So the cross and then his left hook. Boom. Finally, he circles out at an angle. Here they are. Clinched again. Let's see what happens. Again, what are you looking at? Right-hand side. If you are going to fight Donald Cerrone, you have to understand an overwhelming amount of his offense is going to come from that right side. At distance, in close, and at kicking range. You have to know that. He doesn't do a lot of offense from the other side. You got to be prepared. So he cracks him with an elbow here. And let's see, he just stays there a little bit. He gets out of the way of that, which was nice by Hernandez. But Cerrone just knows if I keep following this guy, here's your straight, then your hook. You'll catch him every time. Cerrone does it over, and I'm sounding like a broken record because it is a broken record. Over and over and over and over again. All right, here we go. Another one. They are on the clinch, face to face. Where do you think the attack's going to come from? Say it with me, class. The right side. Boom. Now, this one gets blocked a little bit by Hernandez. But Cerrone knows if I just stay on him and follow back straight, Look at this path, man. Look at this path. It's crazy. It's just straight back. Cerrone's all over him, man. Straight and then hooks every time. Every time. This is a big problem. It's a lot of unnecessary damage he did not need to take. All right, we're almost done. Throws a right hand here. Where do you think Cerrone's offense is going to come from? Wow, look at that. Tries to throw the right hand, he can't do it because he has his left hand hanger up. You see that's preventing it a little bit. That's a nice adjustment from Hernandez. It's not enough, but it's definitely something. He's not a bad fighter. He's just young and inexperienced. He's going to be very good. This is just a bit of a wake-up call. All right? Cerrone throws that. This is a nice elbow. Look at him gear. Watch. Hernandez is stepping in that direction, and he greets him with the elbow. That's really, excuse me, the knee. That's really, really nice, right? Does it again. Same side attacks in the clinch. You see so many people being like, okay, when you throw a combination, it has to be this side, then back to this side, and then back to this side. Alternating can be good. Keeping it the same side on occasion can be good if they keep presenting those same vulnerabilities, which he does. And then again, right hand, right elbow, excuse me. So look at this. What do you think? He tries to throw an elbow once and it got blocked, right? So he goes right elbow, right knee, excuse me, right knee, right elbow. All same side attacks. And he's trying to get away from him. Not quite a linear path, but pretty close. Right? Here they are again, clinched up. This he would absorb it like such. Head on the right side this time, right? You're looking here. Head on the right side. What's he going to do? Let's see. Turns into him. Prevents the takedown. Has a frame here. Look at that. Look at this. Wide open lane, man. What is blocking the face here of Hernandez? Nothing. So what's Cerrone going to do? Crack? Right? It's the same fight over and over and over and over again. That tells you that there is just something he just doesn't know how to do, right? Because John Jones gets hit with a few of these, that shit goes away. Take it all away from you. Mayweather gets hit with a couple of these. I mean, not this version, but the MMA or the boxing version. That just goes away after round 3 or 4. He takes everything away from you. But an inexperienced fighter who's trying to do things that he's not really in a position to be able to do just yet, even though he might be massively talented as a wrestler and super aggressive and very powerful, he's got a lot of strengths, but there's just too much of a skill gap. And again, same side on the clinch attack, just over and over again. Cerrone can feel these vulnerabilities, and he gets away, again, with the right hand. Do you guys see all these patterns? They just keep emerging. I think we're almost done here. So here, this is the very end of the fight, or close to it, right? So we're at the halfway through, or, a quarter of the way through. Third of the way through the second round. So he goes to the body, he's setting it up. This is so nice. By the way, what side is this from? Oh, yeah, it's the right side. Now he's hitting it because the guy's standing in southpaw, so it makes it more possible, but just sort of pointing that out. There's a nice shot, backing out. He's circling. Cerrone's cutting off the cage a little bit. Nice jab, right hand. Follows him back straight, goes back to the body. All the same things we've been seeing before. This one, and by the way, this is part of the story too. These Cerrone's really good. I talked to some people who fought Cerrone before. They tell me that his push kick looks a lot sometimes like his roundhouse when he wants to disguise them. So this is part of that narrative of setting up that head kick at the end. Following here, throws a left hook. Boom, body kick, kind of on the top of the thighs near the cup, right? Same kind of thing, setting it up. Here comes Hernandez at the orthodox stance. Cerrone gets out of the way. And again, look at these hard steps, man. Look at that. Just, extended a little too far. Cerrone gets out of the way. All right, this is the end of the first round. What's he going to do? Boom. By the way, leads with the right hand every time. Catches him. Sometimes he came with the jab, but a lot of times he led with the right. What's he going to do? He's going to lead with the right hand. Watch. Boom, lead with the right hand. Catching him. How did he absorb pressure? He led with the right hand. Here's another one. Ready? Doesn't matter the stance, by the way, that Hernandez is in. What does he do? Lead with the right hand. Catching him on the half beat. The foot of Hernandez is not even on the ground yet. Catching him right at the right time. Right? Look at that. Boom. And then this is the end. I'm not going to go through this. We don't have time for it. I was going to go and sort of try and weigh in on this. You can put the thumbnail. Oh, you know what? Put the thumbnail back up for just a second, if you don't mind. Let me go through this. Da-da-da-da-da. Okay, hold on just a second. Woo! Because I know we got Dennis Bermudez we got to get to. Is he here, Joe? Yeah. Okay. Hang on. One more time. All right. Put the thing back up. Guys, stance switching can be great if you're good at stance switching. If you're ready to be in a position where that's an important part of your offense. But if you're not, it might get you in trouble. And you got a game planner in this guy. You saw it over and over again. You come into him, he's going to greet you with right hands. If you're clinched, it's going to be in a lot of right-hand attacks. He likes that right kick. You can go either side, by the way. But he likes that right kick to the body in the southpaw stance. He likes to go to the head if it's part of the larger repertoire. Again, taking advantage of Hernandez's hard step, he'd get too close to him or he'd lean down, just making a knee counter possible. And he was telegraphing about taking these wide steps and not closing the distance in the right way. Catching Hernandez on the exit, he would throw a punch. Maybe it landed, maybe it didn't, and it would just stand there. Cerrone would set him on fire. Same side clinch attacks we've just been over. And then flurry as Hernandez linearly retreated, which is part of Hernandez on the exit, not really getting there. So if you're not exiting properly and then you're retreating in a straight line, dude, a guy like Donald Cerrone is going to set you up. So when somebody tells you, Donald Cerrone, well, he won via head kick, bro, do not sell this man short. Do not sell one of the winningest, if not the winningest fighter in UFC, Strikeforce, Pride, WEC history. Do not sell him short by saying, he landed a head kick, bro, because there's so much more to his game. There is so much more to his offense. There's so much more to what he's capable of doing that, frankly, that's a bullshit answer, and I won't accept it. Donald Cerrone is a bit of a throwback, but in the best way possible. Throwback like vintage. Throwback like this thing gets better like a fine wine. Everyone's trying new tricks. He stays with what works. I take my hat off in a proverbial sense to Donald Cowboy Cerrone. That is the Monday Morning Analyst.